Part 30. Dominating the Powerful Families, Rebirth of the Strongest Divinator. Author, Long Ju. Chapter 291. Li Xiaoxia touched his head lovingly. What a good boy. Ye Feng felt the hands gently touching the top of his head, feeling particularly complicated and a little embarrassed. It's not fun to be rejuvenated, even if you want to protest that they don't treat him like a child. Shen Tianxing saw many people looking in their direction and quickly said to his parents, "Mom, Dad, let's get in the car first and then talk." "Okay, let's go." The group got into the car, and Shen Tianxing asked Yan Wenzhen to take the family to the villa in Nandao Mansion given to her by Cheng Ziyuheng. Everything in this villa was decorated by Cheng Ziyuheng, using the highest grade materials, and the style was warm and elegant beige tones that fit Shen Tianxing's temperament. When Shen Wenru, Li Xiaoxia, and the twins Shen Tiankai and Shen Tianlin saw this villa, a glimmer of satisfaction flashed in their eyes. This villa is no worse than their home. They all know what Shen Tianxing is capable of. Although the location of Nandao Mansion is very good and the price is also very high, which is not affordable for ordinary people, they are not surprised at all that their precious daughter has the ability to buy a villa here. Shen Tianxing took them to choose a room first, and then told them, "This villa was given to me by a friend of Grandma Tugu. I helped her solve some problems, but I didn't ask for their villa in vain. I gave that Grandma Cheng more health elixirs, spiritual wine, and spiritual tea than the villa is worth." Shen Wenru and Li Xiaoxia are very impressed and satisfied with their daughter's sensibleness and rationality. Shen Wenru looked at his daughter with a smile and said, "Xiaoxing did the right thing. Our family is not short of that little money, but we can't take advantage of others in vain, so as not to fall into the trap of others." Shen Tianxing hugged Li Xiaoxia's arm and said with a smile, "Of course, I am your parents' caring little cotton-padded jacket. I will never cause trouble to my parents outside." Li Xiaoxia smiled and rubbed her head and said, "Even if you really cause trouble for us, we parents will definitely protect you to the end." Shen Tianxing touched Li Xiaoxia's arm and said sweetly, "Mom, you will spoil me." Li Xiaoxia smiled angrily and said, "You are my daughter. If I don't pamper you, who else can I pamper you?" The twins Shen Tiankai and Shen Tianlin both spoke out to discredit their mother. "Mom, you can pamper us." Ha 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 ha. Ye Feng watched the family chatting and laughing, and it seemed that the entire hall had become warm because of their laughter. A trace of envy flashed in his eyes, and he felt as if he had not enjoyed such warm family happiness for a long time. Shen Tianxing made them a pot of spiritual tea, and after drinking it, she began to serve the dishes. Ye Feng was shocked again when he saw a table filled with delicious food in the blink of an eye. When did she prepare these dishes? He followed her all the time, almost never leaving her except at night. He now feels more and more that there are many secrets in Shen Tianxing that cannot be told. After Shen Tianxing swore a poisonous oath to Ye Feng, he no longer did some things behind his back. Since he wanted to bring him into his family, it would be better to let him know some things early. After all, he himself is also an immortal cultivator with strange origins. He should know very well what abilities cultivators have. The family finished their lunch happily. Shen Tianxing asked his parents and younger brother to go back to the room to rest first. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Shen Tianxing took them to visit his Ling Winery and Xingzi Beauty Co., Ltd. After Shen Wenru and Li Xiaoxia arrived at the vast factory area, they asked Shen Tianxing with some emotion, "Xiaoxing, every inch of land in Kyoto is precious. Did Zixi and his family help you get the land for your factory area?" Shen Tianxing smiled and nodded, "Yes, Zi11's eldest aunt took care of all these procedures. I really haven't worried about these things." Shen Wenru also saw that there were many male employees who walked erectly and had a heroic temperament. They were even more energetic in their work. One of them was as good as two others. He asked Shen Tianxing curiously, "Xiaoxing, have all the male employees here been soldiers?" The way they work and walk is different from ordinary people, they look like soldiers. Dad, you have really good taste. Shen Tianxing gave Shen Wenru a thumbs up and explained to him, you are right. Most of the employees I recruit in this winery are veterans. Men who have served in the military are more organized, disciplined, and responsible. I like men like them very much. Furthermore, I recruit them to work, which can be regarded as helping the army solve some employment problems. This is good for me and for them, it's mutually beneficial. Shen Wenru nodded, smiled, and touched Shen Tianxing's head, and said with joy, my little star has really grown up. He thinks much more thoughtfully than his father, and his vision is far-sighted. Even my father admires me as you. Shen Tianxing laughed loudly and said, Dad, please praise me more, I won't be proud. Shen Wenru stretched out his hand and tapped her nose, girl, you really can't praise me too much. Look, if I praise you a few words, your little tail will go up to the sky. Shen Tianxing said with an angry smile, where can I be? I'm an honest kid. The eldest of the twins, Shen Tiankai, laughed and said, sister, if you are an honest child, there will be no dishonest children in the world. Shen Tianxing directly punched him, shut up. What nonsense are you talking about? This month's benefits will be confiscated. The welfare that Shen Tianxing refers to is the various elixirs, spiritual wine, spiritual tea, spiritual food, etc. that she personally refines. She prepares one for each member of her family every month. As soon as Shen Tiankai heard that the benefits were gone, his face suddenly fell, and he began to beg Shen Tianxing shamelessly, sister, my good sister, I was wrong, I shouldn't have said that, you can slap me, but Jian don't reduce my benefits. Without the benefits you give me, I would be worse than dead. However, Shen Tianxing raised his chin with an arrogant look and snorted softly, if the tiger doesn't show off its power, you still think I'm a sick cat? There is no need to discuss this matter. This is a lesson I have given you, telling you what disaster is come out of your mouth, do you understand? Ouch, ouch, I was wronged. Hearing the eldest brother's wail, Shen Tianxing pursed his lips and snickered. Mock up. I can't deal with you yet. After the family visited Ling Winery, Shen Tianxing took them to Dugu's house for a banquet. When the family arrived at Dugu's house, they were naturally warmly welcomed by the Dugu family. It's a pity that Dugu Zixi went out to do a mission and hasn't come back yet. He has been on a mission for a long time this time, and he has not come into space these days. Shen Tianxing is a little worried about him, and wonders how he is doing now. When can you come back? Dominating the Powerful Families, Rebirth of the Strongest Divinator. Author, Long Juyu. Chapter 292. Shen Tianxing was lost in thought as he thought about it. Grandma Tugu saw Shen Tianxing's lost look and joked at her, Xiao Xing, are you thinking about Zi-11? Shen Tianxing's face turned red, but he nodded honestly, yes, Grandma, I miss him, and I'm also worried about him. Why didn't he come back for so long when he went on a mission this time? He was so silent, too, it's worrying. Grandma Tugu clapped her hand and said with emotion, it's not easy to be a military wife. I remember when your grandfather went to the battlefield, I didn't accompany him. I have to carry that heart all day long. I was so worried that I couldn't sleep at night. Grandma really understands your current mood. Shen Tianxing glanced at Mr. Dugu and found that when the old man heard what his wife said, his eyes when he looked at the old lady were filled with tenderness and sweetness. Shen Tianxing really envied the relationship between these two old people. The couple had been together for a lifetime. Li Xiaoxia also smiled and comforted Shen Tianxing and said, Xiao Xing, Zi-11's ability is so high, there are probably not many people who can deal with him now. You don't have to worry too much, he's just coming back a few days late. Shen Tianxing felt warm in his heart when he saw the caring eyes of the old lady and mother. Even the old man and her father who were playing chess on the side looked at her with concern from time to time. She chuckled and said, "I'm fine, don't worry, I just miss Zixi." Grandma Tugu laughed and said, "Xiao Xing, believe it or not, Zixi must be thinking of you now." Tugu Zixi, who was on a mission far away on the border, felt her nose itching when Grandma Tugu said this. He immediately guessed that his little star must be thinking about him. He has been out for so many days this time, but he still can't accompany her abroad to participate in the International Wine Festival. Now she should return to the country, but she hasn't seen him go back yet, and she must be worried about her. Today he must find a way to enter the space to see his dear little star, so that he can understand how much he misses her. The terrorists they faced this time were very powerful and well organized. This time, these terrorists dared to extend their black hands into the territory of China, so the country will naturally crack down on them severely. According to Tugu Zixi's usual approach, he would directly eradicate them without leaving any further trouble. It was for this reason that they delayed a little longer this time. Tonight, they will close the net and catch the big fish. If everything goes well, he will be able to go home tomorrow. At the thought of going home and being with Xiao Xing, Tugu Zixi's heart was filled with enthusiasm and she felt energetic all over. At around 6 o'clock in the evening, the president and his wife, who are busy every day, also rushed back. They apologized to Shen Wenru and Li Xiaoxia one after another. "My dear, I'm really sorry that we came back so late." "I'm sorry." Shen Wenru and Li Xiaoxia smiled with understanding. "We understand that the in-laws are too busy taking care of the big and small affairs of a large country. We admire them very much, and you really don't need to feel sorry." Grandma Tugu said with a smile, "Don't be polite when you come. Go out politely. Everyone, hurry up and take your seats and get ready to eat." As soon as Grandma Tugu said this, everyone quickly came to the table. The dinner was very sumptuous, with a large round mahogany table filled with all kinds of delicacies. Li Xiaoxia looked at the table full of delicacies and said with a smile, "My in-laws are so polite, why are there so many dishes?" Although her words were polite, she felt very comfortable in her heart. There are many dishes and few dishes, the food is good and the food is bad, which just shows the attitude of this family towards guests. Doesn't this table full of dishes mean that the Tugu family welcomes their arrival and attaches great importance to them and Xiao Xing? What parents are most worried about is that when their daughter gets married, she won't be able to marry into a husband who treats her well. Now it seems that they can rest assured that everyone in the Tugu family really treats Xiao Xing as a treasure. Shen Tianxing had a warm dinner at Tugu's house with his parents, younger brother, Yefeng, and Yan Wenzhen. He declined Grandma Tugu's and Yan Ningning's request to stay overnight, and then drove back to Nandao Mansion to rest. As for Tugu Zixi, because when the mission was most critical, even though he wanted to take time to go into space and meet Shen Tianxing, he still couldn't take the time. Fortunately, after destroying the terrorists' lair tonight, they can go home tomorrow and no longer have to suffer from this kind of missing. When I woke up, it was the morning of the next day. Shen Tianxing has a lot of things to do because Ling Winery is about to open and go public. She could only ask Yan Wenzhen and Yefeng to accompany Shen's father, Shen's mother, and their twin brothers to visit major tourist attractions in the capital, go shopping, and have all the expenses reimbursed by her. Although Yefeng wanted to be with her and didn't want to accompany Shen's father and Shen's mother, Shen Tianxing gave the order, so he had to accept his fate with a stern face. Under Li Xiaoxia's care and concern, Yefeng's small complaints quickly dissipated. He felt the long-lost maternal love and warmth in Li Xiaoxia. After that, he willingly played with Li Xiaoxia and the others. Shen Tianxing arrived at Ling Winery early in the morning and found that the defensive formation of Ling Winery showed signs of being broken into. A sneer appeared on her lips. "Are those guys really not giving up yet? Do you really want to come to her for abuse?" Shen Tianxing followed the scent left on the defensive formation and quickly found the two blonde Federation Empire men. When she reached them invisibly, the two guys were sleeping soundly with two beauties from China in their arms. They were obviously too tired last night. Shen Tianxing did not wake them up, but directly sealed their acupuncture points and read their memories. When Shen Tianxing saw their memories, he saw that the Fear family, one of the three major wine merchant families, had ordered them to come here. The Fear family wanted to seize the secret recipe of her spiritual wine by any means necessary so that they could take advantage of such a good spiritual wine for existing. Unfortunately, Shen Tianxing's defense was too strong and they had no chance to make a move. They just made a move last night, but today they were caught by Shen Tianxing, and Shen Tianxing discovered their conspiracy. It has to be said that these people really came here looking for death. Shen Tianxing never shows mercy to his enemies. She directly placed a secret curse on the bodies of these two men. From now on, these two men will be useless, and their bodies will become weaker and weaker until they die. Doctors can never find out the cause of their illness. Unless they are lucky enough to meet a monk with a higher level of cultivation than her who is willing to help them break the curse, their lives are destined to be over. But Shen Tianxing didn't know that this was just the first group of people sent by the Fear family. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Dominating the Powerful Families, Rebirth of the Strongest Divinator. Author, Long Juyu. Chapter 293. After taking care of the two foreigners, Shen Tianxing gave them instructions to return home immediately after waking up, and then she quietly left here. The Fair family, she remembered. I will settle this account with them later. The next day, the two guys who were targeted by Shen Tianxing with his spiritual consciousness obediently checked out of the room and returned to the country. After returning home, he was naturally scolded by the Fear family. When the people of the Fear family were about to deal with them, these two guys fell down on their own. They are so sick that even doctors can't find out the cause. The members of the Fear family did not even think about Shen Tianxing and sent a second batch of international mercenaries to China. Their plan this time was to disrupt the opening ceremony of Shen Tianxing Ling Winery in one fell swoop, and then find a way to get the recipe for the spirit wine. Time flies, and in the blink of an eye, October 28th is here. The brand new office building of Tianjai Lingjuko Limited is decorated very festively inside and outside, with red lanterns hanging high, colorful flags fluttering in the wind, welcoming ladies with friendly smiles, and the staff shuttled among them, busy going back and forth. The stage for the opening ribbon cutting has also been set. 3 wine mountains made of spiritual wine are standing on the stage, which looks very spectacular. Everything is ready, now just waiting for the guests to arrive. Shen Tianxing arrived very early with his parents, twin brothers, Yefeng and Yan Wenzhen. There are many important people coming today. She wants to check first whether it is safe inside and outside the company and at the opening ceremony. After checking and confirming that there were no problems, Shen Tianxing quickly set up a defensive formation around him to prevent others from sneak attacks. Before going out today, Shen Tianxing had already calculated that there would be trouble at today's opening ceremony. Although she can now calculate that the trouble is coming from the west, and it should be someone sent by the Fear family again, she doesn't know how they will deal with her. Of course Shen Tianxing is not afraid of them, but she is afraid of hurting the heavyweights who came to attend the opening ceremony, such as Mr. Dugu, the president's wife, General Li, Sun Daiheng, the president of the Royal Academy, Sun Daitong, a Chinese doctor, and other important figures. Big shot. No matter which one of these important people was harmed, it was not what she wanted to see. After setting up the defensive formation, Shen Tianxing called the security captain Zhuang Yi, Captain Zhuang, there will be many important people coming to our Ling Winery's opening ceremony today. You must guard it and don't let the villains take advantage of the loophole and cause trouble. If you find anything unusual, no matter what I am doing, you must report it to me immediately. Do you understand? Zhuang Yi immediately responded, understood. Zhuang Yi is a retired special scout with very strong reconnaissance ability and good personal combat effectiveness. Shen Tianxing promoted him to the position of security captain. During this period, Shen Tianxing improved the strength and equipment of the entire security department. Each of them is equipped with defensive talismans, amulets, attack talismans, psychedelic talismans, etc. that she personally made. As long as they don't encounter a particularly powerful monk or a person with superpowers, they can handle it and buy time for her to call the police to save her. At least it won't cause a big disaster. After arranging all this, Shen Tianxing waited for the opening time. The opening ceremony is at 9:58 a.m. The people who will cut the ribbon have been decided as follows: the President, MRS Tugu, General Li, Chinese Dr. Sun Daitong, Royal Academy President Sun Daiheng, plus Shen Tianxing, which makes a perfect number of 66. Around 9:30, the guests rushed over one after another and gave Shen Tianxing gifts and blessings for the opening. Shen Tianxing also greeted him with a smile and thanked him very much in return. She did not invite many guests this time. Except for a few of her close classmates who had not yet officially entered the society, every guest was important in the capital. Even if her classmates have not achieved anything yet, judging from their respective prominent family backgrounds, they will become the new generation of well-known figures in the capital in the future. When Shen Tianxing was welcoming guests from all over the world, in a building not far away, there was also a group of mercenaries who had entered the country from abroad, and they were discussing various plans on how to capture Shen Tianxing. Just as they were discussing, a young man wearing a camouflage military uniform with a handsome face but as cold as a god suddenly appeared in the room where they were. When this group of mercenaries saw the man who suddenly appeared in their room, they were all trembling with fear. They immediately stood up, pulled out their pistols, and pointed at the man. The leader of the mercenaries tried hard to suppress the fear in his heart and asked sharply, "Who are you?" The man seemed to completely ignore the guns in their hands, and only looked at them proudly, saying word by word, "I am here to take your lives." When the mercenaries heard this, they all pulled the triggers and shot wildly at the man. What shocked and frightened the mercenaries was that a transparent light curtain appeared around the man, protecting his whole body. All the bullets they fired were blocked outside the man's body and fell to the ground with a ding-ding-ding sound. The mercenaries all looked at him with fear on their faces. The mercenary leader asked with a trembling voice, "Are you a human? Or a devil?" The man smiled coldly, "I am a human and a god. The god who can dominate your lives." As soon as he finished speaking, all the mercenaries felt a twinge of pain in their brains. The next moment, they felt their eyes go dark, and their bodies fell softly to the ground. The man flashed directly in front of the mercenary leader, stretched out his hand to read his memory, and then read the memories of other mercenaries before he stopped. Looking at these mercenaries lying dead on the ground, Tuguzixi's eyes flashed with a hint of coldness. "If you dare to touch his woman, you are really seeking death." After searching the corpses of these mercenaries, he put the useful weapons, bank cards, passports, etc. into the space, and then summoned the corpse water from the space, directly corrupting the corpses of the mercenaries in this place into a puddle of water. Then, he cast a cleansing spell around the room, leaving no trace. Tuguzixi's action of taking the corpse water from the space instantly alarmed Shen Tianxing. Shen Tianxing immediately sent a 1,000-mile message to Tuguzixi and asked him excitedly, "Zixi, are you back? Where are you now?" A hint of tenderness flashed across Tuguzixi's face, and she replied with a smile, "I'll be there soon." Shen Tianxing smiled happily, "Great. I thought you wouldn't be able to come back." Dominating the Powerful Families, Rebirth of the Strongest Divinator. Author, Long Juyu. Chapter 294. Dugozixi teleported and appeared in front of her in the blink of an eye. She lowered her eyebrows and smiled lightly. Today is a grand day for the opening of your company. How could I not come back in time? Shen Tianxing held his hand and chuckled softly. You are wrong. This is our Tianji Pavilion's Ling Winery, and it belongs to both of us. Dugozixi smiled softly. What's mine is yours too. Shen Tianxing smiled and narrowed his eyes. Xiao Zixi, you are really getting better and better. Dugozixi smiled, stretched out his long arms, gently hugged her waist, pressed a passionate kiss on her lips, and said in a low voice, it is only natural for a husband to pamper his wife. Shen Tianxing smiled coquettishly and punched him. Who is your wife? She hasn't even written her horoscope yet. Dugozixi deliberately teased her. If you don't mind, I can make up for that part right away. Let's hold the wedding in a week. How about it? Shen Tianxing stared at him blankly for a while, and then said to him with a speechless face, are you addicted to joking? You made a joke and said it so seriously, it scared people's hearts almost to jump. Come out. Dugozixi reached out and held her face, and said seriously, Xiao Xing, I'm not kidding you, I really want to marry you right away. Shen Tianxing stretched out his hand to caress his rapidly beating heart and said in a low voice, just wait a few more years. I'm destined to be yours anyway and I won't run away. Dugozixi sighed softly, it feels like it will be a long time. Shen Tianxing suddenly thought of the scene in his previous life when he was chasing Dugozixi, and couldn't help but laugh. Master, I feel like God thinks you tortured me too much in your previous life, so in this life, it's you who will suffer suffering torture, experiencing the pain and helplessness I felt when I couldn't get what I asked for. Dugozixi nodded in agreement. I also feel that God doesn't like me, so he will try every means to torture me in this life. As soon as Dugozixi finished speaking, a certain immortal emperor sitting on the dragon chair in the immortal realm sneezed violently. The old man stretched out his hand to rub his nose and muttered to himself with a puzzled look on his face, which guy is this thinking about me? The immortal emperor was indeed very annoyed with immortal Zi-11 from the immortal realm. In order to go down to earth to pursue his female apprentice, he would rather remove the immortal bones and give up everything, and go to earth without any hesitation. This old man is really angry. Aren't you, Dugozixi, determined to descend to earth? Okay. I will torture you to see if you can endure the suffering. Will you regret your choice to give up everything and go down to earth even if you die? But the facts prove that immortal Zixi really doesn't regret her original choice. Although he ate some bitterness, he got more sweetness, which was very worth it. Shen Tianxing saw that the time for the opening ceremony was coming soon, and she quickly pulled Dugozixi back to the scene. When Dugozixi came back, Mr. Dugu and his wife, as well as Dugu Jinan and Yaningning, all happily greeted him. Zixi, are you back? Dugozixi called them one by one. When he saw Shen Wenru, Li Xiaoxia, and Shen Tianxing's twin brothers arriving, he politely called them one by one. Finally, he explained to everyone and said, I just came back, and luckily I caught up with Xiaoxing's opening ceremony. Grandma Dugu smiled and said, you are back in time. We also feel that today's opening ceremony is more successful, right? Xiao Xing. Shen Tianxing chuckled and responded, Grandma is right. When Zixi comes back, we all feel more complete. At this time, the etiquette lady came over and asked them to cut the ribbon and prepare to go on stage. Shen Tianxing hurriedly went to invite them one by one. When these dignitaries who cut the ribbon stood on the stage, all the guests were wide-eyed and shocked. They all secretly marveled in their hearts, this Shen Tianxing has so much energy. Several of the most important big shots in the imperial capital were invited by her. This shows how popular she must be in these upper circles. I must get to know her well in the future. The reporters below the stage who had been invited to enter were even more frantic in taking photos. They tried to miss every detail. Today is really awesome. They really didn't expect that Tianjai Lingjuko, Limited, in addition to its famous liquor all over the world, the owner of this company was actually much more awesome than they imagined. They can now imagine how many percentage points this news will increase in their ratings after it is broadcast, which will also lead to a doubling of their bonuses. It's beautiful to think about. Under everyone's excited eyes, the opening ceremony of Tianjai Lingjuko, Limited officially began. The gongs and drums were noisy, and the firecrackers also crackled in everyone's ears. Big figures such as the President and General Li also stood with Shen Tianxing to cut the ribbon, which also represented the official opening of Tianjai Lingjuko, Ltd. Trucks filled with spirit wine quickly drove out of the spirit wine factory. In the banquet hall in the company building, each guest held a wine glass in his hand and was drinking happily. Shen Tianxing had just told them that there was enough spiritual wine for today, so they could drink freely. Drunkards like General Li are so happy. Usually, they were reluctant to drink the spiritual wine that Shen Tianxing gave them. Every time they drank, they only drank one small cup at a time. When did they dare to drink openly? It was a rare opportunity to have such a good opportunity today, so they had to have a good drink. Seeing old General Li and his old friends desperately drinking the spirit wine, Mr. Dugu felt heartbroken. How wonderful it would be if all the spiritual wine was left for him to drink. After everyone had finished drinking and eating, Shen Tianxing discovered that the trouble she had calculated had not come. She felt a little strange. Thinking that Dugu Zixi had taken the corpse water in the space, she said to him directly, "Zixi, I originally calculated that there would be trouble today, and I made a lot of preparations. Is it you? Clean up all those people." Dugu Zixi nodded and replied, "When I came back, I let go of my consciousness and caught them plotting to kidnap you not far from here. In a fit of anger, I killed all these people." Shen Tianxing was shocked. "You wiped them all out? There's no cause and effect, right?" Hearing the worry in her words, Dugu Zixi comforted her softly and said, "These mercenaries are members of the internationally notorious dark mercenary group. Each of them has a lot of lives in their hands. I will kill them. They are doing justice for heaven, there will be no cause and effect, so don't worry." Dominating the Powerful Families, Rebirth of the Strongest Divinator. Author, Long Juyu. Chapter 295. Shen Tianxing breathed a sigh of relief. It's good if there is no cause and effect. Dugu Zixi looked at her with an endearing smile. "Silly girl, you really think that I am an ignorant young man? I am your master who knows astronomy, geography, past lives, and the future." Shen Tianxing glared at him angrily. "Yes, it was my fault. I shouldn't worry about your old age." Dugu Zixi was scolded by Shen Tianxing, so he hugged her again and said with a flattering look, "It was my fault. I shouldn't have laughed at you like this, little Xing Xing, can you just forgive me, my teacher?" Shen Tianxing looked at the energetic and expressive master now, and really felt very satisfied and happy. In this life, she has all the men she once wanted to have, as well as beautiful love and warm family ties. On the second day of opening, Shen Tianxing received good news from the company's sales department. The sales of their Tianjai Lingjuko, Limited reached an astonishing 4.5 billion on the first day. Among them, the limited edition spirit wine priced at 1.5 million yuan per bottle was only sold in 1,500 bottles per month. However, all of them were sold out on the first day of opening. Even though each person is limited to purchasing one bottle, there are countless people holding bank cards who want to transfer money to reserve the limited edition spirit wine for next month. The first limited edition spiritual wine alone has sold 2.25 billion. The second-tier spirit wine priced at RMB 150,000 per bottle also sold 10,000 bottles, totaling RMB 1.5 billion. The third-tier spirit wine priced at RMB 15,000 also sold 50,000 bottles, totaling RMB 750 million. Even Shen Tianxing and Dugu Zixi were a little surprised by such terrifying sales. Tianjai Lingju once again made headlines. And those who saw the news headlines were shocked beyond words. There were naturally a lot of comments about Tianji Pavilion spiritual wine. Whether in the real world or on the internet, you can hear or see people talking about Tianji Pavilion spiritual wine everywhere. For a whole week, Tianji Pavilion spiritual wine was on the headlines of major news media. Those who bought Tianji Pavilion spiritual wine and found it effective after drinking it naturally praised Tianji Pavilion spiritual wine endlessly. And those who did not buy the Tianji Pavilion spiritual wine, or did not have the money to buy the spiritual wine, or those who had ulterior motives, began to act as keyboard warriors on the internet. They used extremely inflammatory words to denounce Shen Tianxing, saying that Shen Tianxing was taking advantage of the opportunity to make money. They also suggested that the State Department should investigate her. Their words also affected the president and the others, inspiring countless keyboard warriors. The mood of the keyboard warriors is that the world will not be in chaos. Shen Tianxing saw those comments, and when the news media asked her to interview her and let her give an explanation to the public, she only said this to the media. The profits from the operation of Tianjai Lingjuko, Limited, in addition to deducting the costs of raw materials, employee benefits, insurance, etc., will all be donated to the Xingzi Charity Foundation to help those in need. I personally won't save any cent for the improvement of the people and the benefit of the local area. Of course, if you don't believe it, you can just wait and see. As soon as her interview was broadcast, most of the black people shut up. People make money just to do good deeds, what else can you say? But there are still some unscrupulous people who are unwilling to shut up and want to continue making trouble. They still want to continue to blackmail Shen Tianxing and the Dugu family on the internet. However, netizens take the initiative to protect Shen Tianxing and the Dugu family. People, on the contrary, they sprayed those sunspots until they were speechless. The Fei family, who are far away from abroad, have always been paying attention to Shen Tianxing and her Tianjai Lingju company. After they learned that Tianjai Lingjuko, Limited's sales reached 4.5 billion on the first day, they became even more jealous. This Tianji Pavilion spiritual wine is not only a cornucopia of treasures, but what shocks them is that this spiritual wine can improve the body's physical fitness and superpowers. If it can be taken for a long time, will the superpowers in their family be able to break through again and advance again? It is even possible to create more superpowers. By then, wouldn't the world of this federal empire belong to their Fei family? At the thought of this possibility, the patriarch and elders of the Fei family became as excited as if they had been given blood. This time, there are also some scumbags on the internet who are adding fuel to the flames. But the two groups of people they sent to deal with Shen Tianxing are all dead now. They haven't figured out Shen Tianxing's background yet, so they don't dare to send more people for the time being. But this does not mean that their ambition to seize the spiritual wine is extinguished. They were just lurking like cheetahs, waiting for the opportunity, hoping to hit Shen Tianxing with one hit on their third shot. It's a pity that they don't know that they have no chance. On the third day after the opening of Tianjai Lingjuko, Limited, Shen Tianxing, together with Dugu Zixi who was on vacation, quietly sneaked into the Fei family in the Federal Empire. They directly made soul contracts with all the main figures of the entire Fei family, including the patriarch and elders, as well as the next heir to the patriarch and elite disciples, making all these people in the Fei family become their slaves. Without a single soldier or a trace of blood, Dugu Zixi and Shen Tianxing transferred the nearly 1,000-year collection of the Fei family to space. Also, all the tens of billions of terrifying deposits that the Fei family had in the bank were confiscated. It might as well be taken back to do good deeds. From now on, let the Fei family become their cash machines. If you run out of money for doing good deeds, you can come to them and ask for it. This will be more valuable than killing them. How can a mere mortal, even if he has some superpowers, fight against these powerful immortal cultivators? As long as they are willing, they will destroy you in minutes. After solving the whole mess of the fair family, Zhuge and Shen Tianxing returned home with a full load. They celebrated again in space and planned how to use the collected money to help those in need. Shen Tianxing has always wanted to open a charity hospital to help more people who are seriously ill but have no money for treatment. However, this plan has never been implemented due to various reasons. After receiving so much funds from the fair family this time, Shen Tianxing told Zhuge about this plan again. Zhuge naturally supported her very much, but he also reminded her with a serious face, "Xiaoxing, I very much agree with you doing good deeds and accumulating merit, but the premise is that you don't tire yourself too much, do you understand?" Shen Tianxing held his arm, rested his head on his shoulder, and said with a smile, "I understand. Don't worry, I won't tire myself." You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Dominating the Powerful Families, Rebirth of the Strongest Divinator. Author, Long Juyu. Chapter 296. Zhuge put his arm around her shoulders and whispered softly, "As long as you understand." Shen Tianxing suddenly remembered something, raised his eyes and asked him, "By the way, my parents and my brother are going home tomorrow. Are you free? If you are free, come with me to see them off." Zhuge raised her eyebrows in surprise and asked softly, "My father-in-law and mother-in-law are going back so soon? Why don't you play for a few more days? I happen to have a vacation now and can accompany them around." Shen Tianxing sighed softly, "I also wanted them to stay for a few more days, but they have said it. They can't worry about the things at home. Dad has to manage the company and the brothers have to go to school, so they have to go back." After hearing this, Zhuge understood them quite well. "Then we can do the same thing next time, or we can go back and see them when we have time." "Well, let's go see them off together tomorrow." "Good." The next day, Zhuge and Shen Tianxing sent Father Shen, Mother Shen and their twin brothers onto the plane together. After returning, Zhuge discovered that there was a cute, cool, and charming little boy at home in Shen Tianxing's villa on the South Island. Zhuge remembered that in the past 2 days, this child had been following Shen's father and Shen's mother. Why is it that now that Shen's father and Shen's mother have gone back, this child is still here? Zhuge, who felt something was wrong, immediately found Shen Tianxing and asked directly about Yefeng. "Xiaoxing, who is that little boy? Why do you want to stay here?" Of course, Shen Tianxing wouldn't hide anything from him, so he told him everything about getting to know Yefeng, no matter how big or small. After hearing this, Zhuge said with a jealous face, "Is he relying on you like this?" Shen Tianxing saw his dissatisfied expression, and there was nothing she didn't understand. She quickly coaxed him and said, "Xiaofeng's body is sick. I don't know the cause yet. Once it's cured, I'll do it again. Let's see how to arrange him. By the way, you are my master, much better than me. How about you help me find out what disease he has?" Zhuge snorted proudly, "Is there any reward for curing him?" Shen Tianxing replied with a smile, "Yes." Zhuge asked again, "What reward?" Shen Tianxing chuckled and said, "I'll give you a kiss." Zhuge was not satisfied yet. "Just a kiss? Is there anything else?" Shen Tianxing glanced at him coquettishly and deliberately teased him, "Do you dislike my kiss? Just forget it." Zhuge quickly flattered her and said, "No, no, no, I want it, I want it, I want it now, okay." After saying that, he opened his arms and hugged her. However, Shen Tianxing only allowed him to kiss him once and then pushed him away. Okay, the interest has been given to you first, so hurry up and work for me. Faced with her strong suppression, Zhuge Zixi could only accept her fate and say, yes. My wife. Shen Tianxing woke up Ye Feng, who was meditating on the sofa in the living room, and said to him, Xiao Feng, this is my fiancé Zhuge Zixi. You should know, right? Ye Feng nodded and looked at Zhuge Zixi with critical eyes, as if he wanted to find out what made him unworthy of Shen Tianxing. But Zhuge Zixi's flawless appearance and godlike grace made him unable to find a single thorn in his face even if he wanted to find fault. Seeing them standing together, like a pair of wall figures, Ye Feng felt a little uncomfortable. But he also had a hunch that in addition to his perfect appearance, this Zhuge Zixi also had unfathomable cultivation. At least, when he faced Zhuge Zixi, he would feel like he was facing an ancient ferocious beast, and his consciousness would instinctively produce a fear and an uncontrollable desire to surrender to him. What is the origin of this Zhuge Zixi? How could it be so strong? This is the most powerful man he has met since he came to this world. He and Shen Tianxing seemed to be extraordinary. Could it be that the two of them were just like him, not from this world? But this is unlikely. In the past 2 days, he had been hanging out with Father Shen and Mother Shen, and had learned a lot of information from their mouths. He also learned that although Shen Tianxing was not their biological child, he was indeed a local child. It is impossible to seize the body. If it was to seize the body, he would be able to tell. Ye Feng never imagined that Zhuge Zixi and Shen Tianxing were the real immortals and immortal kings in the immortal world, or the powerful immortals with memories. Even though he was cultivating the immortal world before, his cultivation was far from reaching the level of ascending to the immortal world. When he faced Zhuge Zixi, he would instinctively feel fear and surrender, which was normal. Shen Tianxing saw these two men, one big and one small, looking at each other. Standing nearby, she could feel their gazes on each other, fighting silently. When Ye Feng chose to lower his eyes first, Shen Tianxing smiled and said to him, Xiao Feng, Zi11 is not only my fiancé, but also an immortal king from the immortal world. He is very capable. Can your disease be cured? It all depends on him. You can cooperate with him in a while, okay? Ye Feng nodded and responded obediently, okay. He was calm on the surface, but he was turbulent on the inside. He thought about any possibility, but he never thought that Zhuge Zixi would be a powerful immortal king from the immortal world. Although he is from the Death Star cultivation world, even in the Death Star cultivation world, there are only a few people who can truly ascend to immortality. On this heaven-defying road to immortality, many people were lost at every level. Therefore, when the Hunling Pearl, which is said to allow monks to attain enlightenment and become immortals, was released, it attracted countless monks to compete for it. He also accidentally ended up in this plane, and he is still in a broken body. And if he can meet Zhuge Zixi and Shen Tianxing, will it be another opportunity for him? If he keeps following them, will he become an immortal one day? If they could really take him to achieve enlightenment together, he would be willing to do it even if it cost him everything. The budding feelings for Shen Tianxing in his heart were quickly transformed into a true brother-sister relationship. He believed that only by doing this would Zhuge Zixi allow him to live by their side. While Ye Feng was thinking wildly, Zhuge Zixi's fingers, as beautiful as white jade, had gently grasped his hand and then touched his pulse. Zhuge Zixi's consciousness also penetrated into Ye Feng's body, not sparing any corner, and carefully searching for the cause of his illness. When Zhuge Zixi saw the Hunling Pearl hidden deep in Ye Feng's sea of consciousness, secretly sucking the life force from Ye Feng's body, Zhuge Zixi instantly understood the cause of his illness. Dominating the Powerful Families, Rebirth of the Strongest Divinator. Author, Long Juyu. Chapter 297. After finding out the reason, Zhuge Zixi let go of his hand and said to him in a deep voice, "You are not poisoned. It is the evil caused by the bead in your body, which is constantly absorbing the poison from you. If you continue like this, you will be dead within 3 years. Within 3 years, you will be dead. After hearing Duguzixi's last 2 sentences, Yefeng felt as if he had been hit by a heavy hammer, and instantly felt a sting lingering in his heart. What he has been pursuing tirelessly is immortality and ascension to the immortal world. However, now Duguzixi told him that if he didn't cure his disease, he would only have 3 years to live. It was so ridiculous and ironic. Yefeng looked at Duguzixi and asked in a deep voice, "What should I do? How can I get better?" When he asked this question, he felt his throat was a little dry and his voice was a little hoarse. Duguzixi replied to him calmly, "As long as I take out the beads from your body, you can continue to practice and you will slowly recover." Yefeng instantly looked at Duguzixi, a trace of suspicion flashed in his eyes. "I worked hard to get this bead. Do I have to take it out?" Duguzixi sneered proudly, "I'm just suggesting, take it or not, it's up to you. Xiao Xing and I will not covet a piece of shit like you. Broken stuff." Yefeng felt stabbed in the heart instantly. What he regards as a treasure and grabs with all his strength is just a piece of junk in the eyes of others. Yefeng felt that his current mood was really bad. This Duguzixi is so hateful. Shen Tianxing felt a little headache when he saw the 2 men, one big and one small, facing each other here. She didn't want the atmosphere to remain so deadlocked, so she said to Yefeng in a serious voice, "Xiao Feng, no matter how important your little bead is, we will never covet your things. If we are really greedy people, there is no need to take it away. A large amount of the money earned was invested in charity. Xianjun Zixi is a very great and capable person. His position in my heart is very high and cannot be replaced by anyone. I hope you can also believe in him." When Yefeng heard what Shen Tianxing said, he said firmly to Duguzixi, "I choose to believe you. Come on, let's do it." Duguzixi glanced at him lightly and made sure that he had no other thoughts. Then he said to Yefeng, "I'm going to click on your sleeping hole now to make you fall into a deep sleep, and then give you the bead in the sea of consciousness. Take it out, don't worry, the beads will be returned to you." Yefeng nodded, "I understand, come on." After saying that, he closed his eyes, looking like he was being manipulated by Duguzixi. Seeing his current appearance, Duguzixi finally felt better. He stretched out his hand to seal Yefeng's sleep hole and let him fall into a deep sleep. Then he quietly sneaked his consciousness into Yefeng's sea of consciousness and got close to the white bead. The white bead seemed to have spirituality. As soon as it sensed Duguzixi's consciousness approaching, it seemed to sense his danger, and it quickly hid deep in Yefeng's sea of consciousness. How could Duguzixi allow it to escape like this? The big net weaved with spiritual consciousness quickly enveloped the white bead, and then cut off its connection with Night Breeze in one fell swoop. Finally, he pulled it out of Yefeng's sea of consciousness and fell obediently into Duguzixi's hands. The Hunling Pearl indeed has spirituality. After it sensed that Duguzixi had cut off the life force it was absorbing from Night Breeze, it became filled with unwillingness and resentment. Even though it was under the control of Duguzixi, it kept sending messages of complaint to Duguzixi. "Why did you take me out? Why? Why?" Duguzixi slapped Yefeng awake, and then said to him coldly, "You and Yefeng have an equal contract, but you are following the path of evil cultivation, absorbing Yefeng's vitality to improve your own cultivation because your behavior is not allowed by heaven. I peeled you away from Yefeng's sea of consciousness, not only to save Yefeng, but also to save you. Otherwise, the moment Yefeng dies, it will be the time when you die. You are not grateful to me, but you still have the courage to resent me. Do you believe that I can kill you with one move?" Hu Lingzu was scolded so bloody by Duguzixi that she was speechless. When Yefeng heard Duguzixi's words, he also looked at him gratefully. Yefeng had very complicated feelings about the mixed spirit pearl. He had worked hard and fought bloody battles, and finally ended up living in this mortal world, only to obtain this mixed spirit bead. But he never imagined that what this mixed spirit pearl brought him was not to achieve enlightenment and become an immortal, but to almost destroy him. If he hadn't met Shen Tianxing and Duguzixi, within a few years, he would have been unknowingly swallowed by this mixed spirit bead and headed for destruction. When Ye Feng thought of this possibility, he wanted to destroy this mixed spirit bead. He looked at Duguzixi, his eyes full of complexity, including admiration, envy, and a little jealousy, but in the end, all emotions calmed down. Ye Feng said to Duguzixi, "Immortal Lord, I can't control this mixed spirit bead. Now I give it to you as repayment for your life-saving grace." Duguzixi shook his head and said calmly, "I said before that we won't want your mixed spirit pearl, and I still say the same now." When Ye Feng heard what he said, he didn't know what to say. Duguzixi explained to him again, "Your mixed spirit pearl is indeed a treasure, but it has been severely damaged and has almost no energy left. He must find a master to restore its cultivation by devouring the master's vitality and energy. If its energy is insufficient, its capabilities cannot be exerted." After saying that, Duguzixi said to the Hunling bead in the palm of his hand, "Little bead, quickly return the vitality and energy of night breeze that you have absorbed to him, and I will find a treasure place for you to cultivate it, so that you can slowly recover slowly." The Hunling pearl didn't want to spit out the vitality and energy it had finally absorbed, so it pretended not to hear Duguzixi's words. Duguzixi narrowed his eyes and shouted sternly, "Xiao Zuzi, you'd better be obedient, otherwise, when I take action, you will not have a good life." Hearing the deep threat in Duguzixi's words, Han Lingzi jumped several times angrily in protest. But in the end, it obediently returned the vitality and energy it absorbed from Ye Feng back to Ye Feng. When Ye Feng felt that his vitality and energy had returned, he quickly started to practice his mental skills, worked hard to absorb them back into his body, and stabilize his cultivation. Under Shen Tianxing's shocked eyes, Ye Feng gradually recovered from a 4 or 5-year-old child to his original appearance. A very delicate and beautiful man appeared in front of her. Dominating the powerful families, Rebirth of the Strongest Divinator. Author, Long Juyu. Chapter 298. When Duguzixi saw that Ye Feng had returned to his original state and turned out to be such a beautiful man, he immediately felt that Ye Feng's threat increased greatly. Duguzixi turned around and saw Shen Tianxing's wide eyes again, staring blankly at Ye Feng, who couldn't look away. Duguzixi secretly gritted his teeth, really regretting saving him. He is causing trouble for himself. Duguzixi, who was full of jealousy, directly pulled Shen Tianxing back to the room, closed the door, and then gave her repeated orders, "Xiao Xing, you should stay away from a seductive man like Ye Feng. No, you should get too close to him, so as not to misunderstand what you mean to him, and to avoid making mistakes, do you understand?" Shen Tianxing looked at him helplessly, smiled softly, and said, "Okay, I'll keep a distance from him from now on, okay. That's pretty much it?" Duguzixi then said, "Xiao Xing, now that Ye Feng has returned to his original appearance, it will be inconvenient for him to live with you as a man and a woman alone. Let's see if we can find a place for him to move out." When Shen Tianxing thought that the lovely little Ye Feng was gone, he couldn't help but sigh, "It's too hasty to tell him now. I'll tell him after he calms down first." Duguzixi thought that she still had half a month's leave, and he would always be with her, and the night wind couldn't cause any trouble, so she just followed her wishes. Neither Shen Tianxing nor Duguzixi expected that Ye Feng himself would be so knowledgeable. He didn't wait for Shen Tianxing and Duguzixi to say goodbye. That night, Ye Feng bid farewell to Shen Tianxing and Duguzixi. "Sister and brother-in-law, my current identity is that of the Sun Country's lord who controls the country's economic lifeline and underground forces. Now that my health is well, I will go back to the Sun Country first." Shen Tianxing was a little surprised and asked reluctantly, "Xiao Feng, are you leaving so soon?" Although she didn't get along with Xiaofeng for long, in her heart, when Xiaofeng swore the poisonous oath, she already regarded Xiaofeng as one of her own. Ye Feng said softly, and looked at her with deep reluctance in his eyes. But when he felt the cold gaze of Dugu Zixi next to him, Ye Feng quickly restrained his emotions. Dugu Zixi snorted coldly in her heart, "You are a smart kid. If you dare to pester his little star, let's see how I will deal with you." Before Ye Feng left, Shen Tianxing gave Ye Feng another large bag of gifts, including a lot of elixirs for cultivation, spiritual tea and spiritual wine. She also gave him a storage ring and put all the things in it before giving it to him. The mixed spirit pearl was put into space to be cultivated by Dugu Zixi, and he told Ye Feng that he would return it to him after it was cultivated. After Ye Feng returned to China, he immediately sent 5 billion Shenzhou coins to Shen Tianxing's Xingzi Charity Foundation to express his gratitude. He also called her and said, "Sister, from now on, all the money I earn will be spent on you." Of course, he only dared to say this to Shen Tianxing. If Dugu Zixi heard it, he would have to slap him. Shen Tianxing also said to him, "No, you can keep the flowers for yourself. I have several companies now, and I can't spend all the money I make." Ye Feng suddenly asked her again, "By the way, one more thing, sister, that Ning Fenji, does she have a grudge against you? I saw that she gritted her teeth when she mentioned you, as if she wanted to eat you." Shen Tianxing chuckled, "She is my twin sister. However, I was abandoned by the Ning family when I was a child. The Ning family also wanted to kill me. It was because I met a kind-hearted person and then met my current lover. Good parents, this is how we survived." As for Ning Fenji, she grew up happily in the Ning family and was regarded as a treasure by the Ning family. Later, when the Ning family and Ning Fenji found out that I was not dead, they tried to harm me again. In the end, they harmed others but not others. On the contrary, they harmed themselves. The Ning family has collapsed. Ning Fenji's life will naturally be difficult. She has focused all her hatred on me. She wants me to die, which is what I expected. Ye Feng immediately asked, "Sister, she is working as a maid here now. Do you want me to kill her for you?" Shen Tianxing replied calmly, "No need now, just keep an eye on her for me. Don't let her return to the country to cause trouble. If she does anything strange, just help me deal with her. Clear?" After Ye Feng responded, he said sincerely, "Sister, thank you for the gifts you gave me. They help me a lot. If you need any help here, please tell me and I will do my best to help you." In fact, he was older than Shen Tianxing and Dugu Zixi, but now he admired them from the bottom of his heart and wanted to hug their golden legs, so he respectfully called Shen Tianxing and Dugu Zixi. 11 is sister and brother-in-law. He was originally worried that Shen Tianxing and Dugu Zixi would not recognize him as their younger brother. When she saw that Shen Tianxing and Dugu Zixi both acquiesced to this title, Ye Feng was extremely happy. He believed that as long as he held their golden immortal legs, and with their support, he would be able to truly achieve enlightenment and become an immortal. Now that Ye Feng is gone, things on Shen Tianxing's side are basically settled. In the following days, Shen Tianxing and Chinese doctor Sun Daitong devoted all their efforts to the China Institute of Traditional Chinese Medicine to research effective Chinese patent medicine suitable for use in this mortal world. Sun Daitong is not only a traditional Chinese medicine doctor, he is also the director of the China Institute of Traditional Chinese Medicine. In order to get closer to Shen Tianxing, he became an expert professor at the Royal Academy. Sun Daitong knew that Shen Tianxing's medical attainments were very high, beyond his imagination, so he tried his best to drag her into the camp of the China Institute of Traditional Chinese Medicine. His old man's purpose is to want Shen Tianxing to research more Chinese patent medicines with special effects to benefit people from all over the world. Previously, Shen Tianxing had been busy with his own career and did not really devote much time to the Institute of Traditional Chinese Medicine. Sun Datong was anxious, but he did not dare to rush the young ancestor. He could only knock in Shen Tianxing's ears from time to time and ask her, "Xiao Xing, when are you free to go to the Institute of Traditional Chinese Medicine? We have many questions to ask you." Shen Tianxing heard that the old Chinese doctor had already used the honorific title Yu to her, and he also knew that the old Chinese doctor was worried. So, when Shen Tianxing smiled and said back to his old man, "I'm free today, and I'll go to the research institute with you every day from now on. How about that?" The old Chinese doctor Sun Datong's eyes widened instantly. After a while, the old man realized what he was doing and laughed happily. "Ha ha ha, great, great, I finally waited for the day you promised, ha 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 ha." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Dominating the Powerful Families, Rebirth of the Strongest Divinator. Author, Long Juyu. Chapter 299. Shen Tianxing looked at the old Chinese doctor smiling and laughing to the point of tears, and couldn't help but be moved by his enthusiasm. Whether it is Sun Datong, the old Chinese medicine doctor, or G.E.'s Hickson, the old Chinese medicine doctor, their generation of old Chinese medicine doctors is really devoted to Chinese medicine and wants to use medical skills to benefit those patients. Now that she has set the goal of opening a charity hospital, from now on, she will work hard to master medicine and use medicine to benefit people in this world. In the days that followed, Shen Tianxing went all out to research new drugs with Sun Datong and other medical experts. In just 1 year, Shen Tianxing led people to develop anti-cancer drugs, heart disease drugs, leukemia drugs, blood pressure lowering drugs, liver clearing and liver protecting drugs, blood vessel opening drugs, anti-allergic drugs, and anti-cold drugs. Medicine, special hemostatic and sore medicine, etc. Although Sun Datong and others participated in these patents, almost all experiments and data were completed by Shen Tianxing alone. They have benefited tremendously just from learning and participating. All members of the Institute of Traditional Chinese Medicine respectfully call Shen Tianxing Teacher Shen. After a vote by everyone in the institute, it was unanimously agreed that the patent rights for these drugs belong to Shen Tianxing alone. Shen Tianxing did not reject their kindness. This was originally the prescription she came up with, the data she researched, and she accepted it with reason. During the entire experiment, she was able to open up to them and let them participate and learn throughout the process. This was equivalent to teaching them medical skills, just like leading an apprentice. She was sure that the medical knowledge that these experts and professors from the Institute of Traditional Chinese Medicine had learned during the year they studied with her was far beyond what they could have learned in the past few decades. Shen Tianxing opened a door to a higher level of medical realm for them. Shen Tianxing also gave them a glimpse of the entire process from an ordinary doctor to a spiritual doctor. Therefore, they were very grateful to Shen Tianxing, really, really grateful, and each of them regarded her as their medical mentor from the bottom of their hearts. For the entire medical community in China, the medical knowledge imparted by Shen Tianxing this year is of great significance. It has also been recorded in the history of the medical community. It can be regarded as a major event in the medical community and a milestone year in the medical community. Shen Tianxing has researched so many results, so he naturally wants to produce them. After discussing with the Chinese doctor Sun Datong, her fiancé Dugu Zixi, Mr. Dugu, and the president, she decided to open a giant pharmaceutical production base with the support of the state and in cooperation with the state. In doing so, she is actually supporting the country's medical reform plan so that the majority of people can benefit. If she sells all the special medicines with such good effects to other large pharmaceutical companies for production and sales, it will inevitably cause the special medicines to become high-priced medicines, and countless people still cannot afford these special medicines with special effects. This is not the result Shen Tianxing wants to see. Only by holding the good medicines she has researched tightly in her hands can she ensure that the people will get real benefits, so that they no longer have to buy high-priced imported medicines to treat their illnesses. With these low-cost and effective special drugs, they will no longer have no money for medical treatment, no longer have to wait for death, let alone end their lives in pain. Another half-year later, when the medicines developed by Shen Tianxing were produced and put into use, God actually sent hundreds of millions of merits to Shen Tianxing. Billions of merits. Shen Tianxing was almost knocked unconscious by this big pie that fell from the sky. Not only did she have hundreds of millions of merits, but her cultivation level also skyrocketed, and she was directly promoted to the nascent soul realm, becoming a true terrestrial immortal, a powerful nascent soul, with the ability to call upon the wind and rain, and turn over rivers and oceans. After the effects of these special medicines came out, countless patients recovered their health. People also spontaneously gave Shen Tianxing the title of medical god. It took Shen Tianxing another 3 years to complete the 8-year bachelor's, master's and doctoral courses in the Department of Traditional Chinese Medicine. Moreover, with the outstanding results of being the strongest person in the Department of Traditional Chinese Medicine, he successfully obtained a doctorate in medicine from the Department of Traditional Chinese Medicine of the Royal College of Medicine. Diploma. In the year she graduated, Shen Tianxing turned 18. Shen Wenru, Li Xiaoxia, and Du Guozixi all insisted on holding a grand coming-of-age ceremony for Shen Tianxing. Du Guozixi, who has been waiting for Shen Tianxing to grow up in this life, also secretly proposed to Shen Wen and Shen's mother that she wanted to marry Shen Tianxing. Unfortunately, he was ruthlessly rejected by Shen Wenru and Li Xiaoxia. Shen Wenru yelled at him directly, "Xiaoxing is only 18 years old, and you want to marry her? Stop dreaming, it's still early. He hasn't pampered his precious daughter enough, so how could he be abducted like that?" Du Guozixi continued to use the mourning policy, "Father-in-law, please see that the marriage laws of our country of China stipulate that women can get married when they are 18 years old. Just do it. For the sake of me waiting for Xiaoxing for so many years, let's get married." But Shen Wenru waved his hand and said in a very strong tone, "I won't do it if I say no." Du Guozixi looked at her difficult father-in-law and had no choice but to focus on her easy-to-talk mother-in-law. Who knew that Li Xiaoxia, who was always easy to talk to, was as stubborn as Shen Wenru when it came to Shen Tianxing's marriage. She smiled and said to Du Guozixi, "Zixi, you have been waiting for so many years. Waiting for another 2 years is nothing, right? Why, you are impatient and think Xiaoxing is not worth your wait." Yet, Du Guozixi felt that this smiling mother-in-law was more cruel than her father-in-law, and this move was all about hurting her heart. Can he say that he can't wait? He can say that he has the patience to wait for her all his life, but he doesn't really want to wait for her all his life. He wants to live happily with Xiaoxing, give birth to a bunch of cute babies, and live a truly happy life. Du Guozixi's eyes suddenly lit up at the thought of giving birth to a bunch of cute babies. Since his father-in-law and mother-in-law didn't agree, he simply decided to get rid of the problem and marry his son. When Xiaoxing's belly gets bigger, let's see if they agree to marry their daughter. After Du Guozixi made up her mind, she discussed the matter with Shen Tianxing. Du Guozixi, who was full of hope, received a big eye roll from Shen Tianxing. "You have to think of such a bad idea." Du Guozixi wanted to throw the table, and accused her with a look of grief and anger, "Little Xing, why don't you support me? Don't you want to marry me? Don't you want to sleep with me legitimately?" Dominating the Powerful Families, Rebirth of the Strongest Divinator. Author, Long Juyu. Chapter 300. Shen Tianxing glanced at him sideways, like a queen, and asked calmly, "Don't you want to be with me if I don't marry you?" Du Guozixi immediately hugged her shamelessly and said, "Follow me, how about I stay with you now?" Shen Tianxing had never seen such a shameless Du Guozixi. He couldn't help but laugh out loud. "Xiao Zixi, you really did everything you could to sleep with me. You still want to shameless. Duguzixi said matter-of-factly, in order to marry a wife, I will give up my face. Xiao Xing, for the sake of me being so pitiful, just obey me. Shen Tianxing glared at him and pushed him, go away. Not only did Duguzixi not retreat, but he leaned forward and kissed her lips hard. At the last moment, Shen Tianxing pushed him away and said with a blushing face, Zixi, I want a perfect wedding night. This matter should wait until after our wedding, okay? Faced with her tender request, could Duguzixi say no? He deliberately lowered his handsome face and lamented, poor me, I have been looking forward to it year after year, and now I still can't eat meat. My good little star, I used to say that we would get married after you graduated from college. How can you not keep your word? Shen Tianxing looked at him with a smile, as long as you can convince my parents, I have no problem. Duguzixi gritted his teeth, okay. Just wait for me. Duguzixi's marriage failed, so he had to continue to think of ways to overcome Shen's father and Shen's mother. The coming-of-age ceremony for Shen Tianxing at the age of 18 was also held in the resort hotel of Shen's ecological manor. Shen Tianxing didn't invite many people, he only invited his own family, the Dugu family, the Fu family, General Li, Sun Daitong, Duan Weian, and Xiao Zhizhong. There are also several good classmates Zhang Hua, Wu Haishan, Gao Lingfeng, Li Kai, Fang Xiaoxiao, and Counselor Cheng Tingen. In addition, there are some of her right-hand assistants, such as Kong Zhongshu, Lu Yang, and other executives, who are almost all relatives and friends who are very close to her. The president and the president's wife were also very considerate of Tianxing and quietly flew in on a special plane to celebrate her 18th birthday and attend her coming-of-age ceremony. On this day, Shen Tianxing received many congratulatory gifts and blessings. At the banquet of Shen Tianxing's coming-of-age ceremony, Grandma Dugu also represented the Dugu family and asked Shen Wenru and Li Xiaoxia again with a smile, Wenru, Axia, you see Xiao Xing is now an adult and has reached the legal age for marriage. The two of them are also after procrastinating for so long, we are in love again. Should our two families discuss a good day so that they can get married as soon as possible so that the elders of our two families can have their little golden grandson as soon as possible, right? Shen Wenru and Li Xiaoxia looked at each other with embarrassment in their eyes. Grandma Dugu is not a junior like Duguzixi who can be rubbed by the couple. Shen Wenru thought for a moment, then insisted, Grandma, this little star has just turned 18. As parents, we really can't bear to part with her. We want to keep her for 2 more years, is that okay? Grandma Dugu smiled and said, this girl will always get married. Even if Xiao Xing marries into our family, she will be the same as when she was not married. She will live in the same capital. Besides, if she wants to go back to her parents' home, she can do so at any time. We will never restrict Xiao Xing. As for us, we just want to identify the two of them as soon as possible so that they can be together legitimately. If we keep putting off getting married, people think that our Dugu family dislikes Xiao Xing and thinks it's because Zixi doesn't want to marry Xiao Xing. Xing is responsible, don't you think? Shen Wenru was so embarrassed by Grandma Dugu that she didn't know how to respond to her. This was something he should not do, and he felt particularly embarrassed. Li Xiaoxia smiled and smoothed things over and said, it depends on Xiaoxing's wishes. This is her and Zixi's marriage. As parents, we also respect her personal opinions. If she wants to get married, we will send her off in a glamorous manner. If she doesn't want to get married, we parents will never force her to do so. When Grandma Dugu saw Li Xiaoxia relieved, she quickly looked at Dugu Zixi and said with a smile, our Zixi has been looking forward to marrying Xiao Xing. He must have no objection. Let's see now, it's Xiaoxing's. Xiao Xing, are you willing to marry our Zixi? Shen Tianxing smiled sweetly, Grandma, of course I am willing to marry Zixi, but I have to open a charity hospital recently. I am too busy and have no time to prepare for the wedding. Grandma Tugu waved her hand and said proudly, as long as you are willing to marry, we are here to ensure you have a beautiful wedding. You don't have to put any effort into it. All you have to do is be there on the wedding day. Shen Tianxing looked helpless. She wanted to find someone to save her, so she looked at her father Shen Wenru, but Shen Wenru also looked helpless. She looked at her mother Li Xiaoxia, who also looked helpless. In the end, not only was there no one to save the scene, but all the relatives and friends were there to boo him. Xiao Xing, Zixi is so good, hurry up and get married. Get married. That's right, Xiao Xing, it's really hard to find a boy as good as Zi11 even with a lantern, so get married as soon as possible. Xiao Xing, when you get married, I will give you a big red envelope. Get married soon. Get married. Get married. In the end, they all clapped their hands together and shouted loudly, get married. Get married. Get married. Shen Tianxing looked at Mr. Tugu and Mrs. Tugu, then at Tugu Junan and Yaningning, and finally at Tugu Zixi. Facing their eyes full of expectation and hope, Shen Tianxing finally couldn't bear it. Stop, nod and say with a smile, okay. I'll marry you. When everyone saw Shen Tianxing finally nodding, they cheered instantly, wow, that's great. Zixi, congratulations on finally getting this beauty back in your arms. Zixi, what are you doing standing there dumbly? Come forward and kiss the bride-to-be. Tugu Zixi was indeed stunned by this sudden surprise. He was already prepared to accept the rejection, and he regarded the heckles from his relatives and friends as a joke and just listened. But he never expected that Shen Tianxing would not agree to his serious proposal, or even his pretending to be cute and pitiful, but today, under the cheers of everyone, he finally nodded and said that she was willing to marry. This sudden happiness really made his wife excited. After reacting, Tugu Zixi suddenly opened his arms, hugged Shen Tianxing who was sitting next to him, aimed at her red lips, and kissed her fiercely.